All right. Welcome to Love Talk today. Our topic is leaving relationships. And for a special treat, the lovely Leah is going to give us an a cappella version of our song for today.
Perhaps is it a cappella?
Ish.
I thought there was going to be a companion in it. But...
Oh, you wanted this?
Yeah, I thought that would be okay.
All right, enjoy.
Something always brings me back to you. It never takes too long. No matter what I say or do, I still feel you here till the moment I'm gone. Hold me without touch. Keep me without chains. Never wanted anything so much than to drown in your love and not feel your rain. Set me free, leave me be. I don't want to fall another moment into your gravity. Here I am, and I stand so tall, just the way I'm supposed to be. But you're onto me and all over me. Oh, you love me 'cause I'm fragile. Well, I thought that I was strong, but you touched me for a little while, and all my fragile strength is gone. Set me free, leave me be. I don't want to fall another moment into your gravity. Here I am, and I stand so tall, just the way I'm supposed to be. But you're onto me and all over me. I live here on my knees as I try to make you see that you're everything I think I need here on the ground. But you're neither friend nor foe, though I can't seem to let you go. The one thing that I still know is that you're keeping me down. Woo! You're keeping me down. Hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. You're onto me, and all over. Something always brings me back to you. It never takes too long.
Woo! Great job. Great job.
Thanks.
Now that makes me actually think for a future one, instead of me playing rhythm, which, okay, I can play rhythm a bit on the guitar, you know, I just couldn't find myself doing justice to this particular song. I mean, she's, well, you've heard. And
well, thanks.
But
hey, YouTube, anyone who's watching this in the future, we're just waiting because we're also on Facebook and it's reconnecting right now. So
Oh, Facebook.
yeah, YouTube. Hey, we're back. We're back on Facebook. It was reconnecting just a second ago. That's what happened. So we've done our intro, and yeah, as you were saying, we didn't know initially whether, as in previous videos, whether there was going to be guitar with it, but we figured,
why not flaunt this amazing instrument here and not, well, dampen it with my...
I wouldn't put it that way, but you know, we figured instead of just not doing a song at all because we felt like we wanted to practice it more together, to just do it the way that we did. Yeah.
And it makes me think that maybe next week, depending on the song, we could do something like that, and then I could play lead over it, because for those that know me, they know that I much prefer to play lead guitar than rhythm. I just play rhythm well when there's, well, no one else to play rhythm. And that would be a beautiful idea to be able to,
Yeah, we're always working on new ways to see,
to grow, to learn, to expand.
How much better we can make the videos. Yeah, but anyway.
So welcome to Love Talk. My name's Joshua. I am here as coach, as guide, as happenstance traveler to bring those to light that they have been looking for. Part of my background is in a lot of coaching with people of all ages and helping most extensively with relationship-based issues, but whether it's relationships, whether it's work, whether it's coaching for climbing or other or health related things. My passion is to often work one-on-one to help bring insight and light to others.
And I'm Leah. My background is in personal development, spirituality, metaphysics. I pride myself on not being super woo-woo, with one foot on the ground and one foot in the clouds. So I may not exactly be like normal as mainstream people might think, because I have a dark sense of humor, as my friends know. But my perspective is definitely one of a kind. The people who know me know. And
that's
if we ever get a chance, if we ever get a chance to work together, because we've been doing this separately and now we're working together.
We're finding, like yin needs yang. Together we seem to kind of fill that balancing point, and together have the bandwidth to finally bring together these qualities and lessons and growth into a cohesiveness that it was time to try to bring to others. And that is where we are.
Not try, we are doing.
We are.
We are in the beginning stages of working together, but we love doing this. We love bringing, in our own ways, inspiration to people. And yeah, we are on both Facebook and YouTube. Facebook and YouTube. We'll work out an even better setup in the future, so we're not looking there and looking here. But we figured we might as well stream on both platforms. So here we are. And last week's topic was misunderstandings in relationships. So, by the way, just really quickly, we've said this before, but we will say this at the beginning of every episode, just as a disclaimer. Even with our backgrounds in coaching, personal development, when we have these love talks, we are coming from a place of having a conversation. We're not saying that this is what you should do, this is what's correct. And you can take inspiration from what we share. Take what works for you and leave the rest. Yeah.
Excuse my anal retentiveness.
I was also going to say, because we are coming from the place anyway of this is not a formal show. That's why we keep doing all these little things to perfect it. And there will come a time when it will be more perfected, but that's what we're doing. In fact, I'm going to take care of something right now, but go right ahead. And I promise what I'm going to do is make everything so much better, especially for the people on YouTube.
So I hope you enjoy the flowers in the back. I pick them fresh every week. This time we tried to go with the trifecta version and then 2 little instruments on the side. But this week's topic is leaving relationships. So in life, life is a constant stream of relationships, whether it be with friends, family, school, pets, maybe.
I was just going to ask really quickly, is the lighting better? Because it was really dark on YouTube.
Sure.
Because I'm facing the light now towards you.
Looks great.
Okay. Yeah, so you were saying that relationships are not just romantic.
It can also be with a place. Perhaps you've lived somewhere your whole life, and for whatever reason, it's time to move. That, too, is a certain type of relationship of leaving. That's something that we're specifically addressing today, but just trying to give a broad example. And always, please, give us feedback. We may not be able to answer all questions that are stressed or sad or whatever, but
we do appreciate future topics. If there's anything that you want our perspective on or some inspiration on, and also other people's interaction, because people do send in questions. So if you want to hear other people's perspectives on certain topics, even though we did start doing these love talks focused on relationships, romantic relationships, relating in these love talks does go beyond. So anything that you can think of, life related. Please,
insight is always great. And if you like these and you know somebody that may be looking for a level of coaching, they are floundering in some aspect, pass it on, or even just share this to other people who knows what they may or may not like. We appreciate that. If you find any positivity, growth from this, share. So, leaving relationships. Why people want to leave relationships.
Yeah, and so these are always only from what we've talked about and from our experience or the experience of people that we've talked to.
There's
from research that we've done. We're just having a conversation.
Yeah, there's no black and white. Everything is levels of gray, and it is all based upon personal experience or that which we have gleaned from other people's personal experience. But there is, again, absolutely no right or wrong. The goal of this is to help bring a level of insight. And for me, the best way to bring forth insight is what's called rumination. And it's a term typically referred to cows and the way that they eat. But it's a beautiful concept that I find with gleaning information from something. It's you take that information, you chew it, you swallow some of it down, you cough back up, you chew, spit some out, swallow some down. Basically meaning take it in, analyze it for a little while, maybe apply it for a little bit, but then at no point there's nothing wrong with, realizing, okay, I don't want to apply this anymore. I don't want to even keep this anymore. Glean 1% of it, glean nothing from it, glean all of it. It's upon the individual to find wisdom. And for me personally, I try to find wisdom in everything, even if it's some cheesy B comedy movie. If your mind is open to the possibility, there's wisdom that can be found within it.
Yeah. And sometimes what works at that moment won't always work. So being open to change, being open to what seems to make sense at the moment could be a stepping stone so that you actually get to where you really want to go. Yeah.
So why people want to leave. One Well, there are many reasons. One of the first ones we'll mention is huge life change. You won the lottery. You haven't been really happy in your relationship, but you felt a level of dependency upon the person you were with. Well, you don't need to be dependent upon them anymore. Boom, you've moved on. And that's just one of countless examples, but that's the first one that just kind of popped in there is like some huge life change. Or maybe there was a huge job opportunity and you had to weigh, do I want to continue this or do I want to pursue this job?
Yeah, especially if it means moving.
Mm-hmm.
Because they might not want to move with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I guess first thought on that particular topic is if you're debating on wanting to leave someone to go do another job, that right there is kind of a sign that maybe things aren't as good as you possibly perceived before, because if it was that good, would you ever really consider leaving them, period? Or would you ever think that they wouldn't go to make that big change because of how important that connection is with one another? And before we get too deep into it, as usual, at the end of each episode, we have what's called the Big O, which is something that we find to be potentially, if you're going to take one insight out of our talk, what we find could be the most important aspect of that. And also, at some point, we will be doing a reading.
Yeah,
so
as we've done in multiple episodes.
Well, every episode, I think.
We didn't start from the very beginning.
Yeah. Well, since we are now episode 14, so it is the consistent theme now.
I want to say, by the way, because you brought up that it's episode 14, we discovered that 3 of our videos have been taken down on Facebook. Yeah, and I did research on it, and apparently it happens to some people. Like, perhaps there's a Facebook policy that we didn't follow, but of course we didn't intend to.
There were some points where trying to express the potency of a specific topic, I may have used, well, words that are not as liked by many others. I swore.
Formally.
I did loud swearing. I did what I call the TR, the Tony Robbins. It's an effect of, by using swearing or taboo words, it kind of breaks. How does he describe it?
It shocks people out of the state of mind that they're in. That way they become more receptive. Change.
And I use that, and we don't know specifically why they were taken off, but
3 videos have disappeared, so...
that seems to be a potential logical reason behind that.
Yeah, so from now on...
We are trying to not do swearing, and we're going to download our videos immediately. Because those 3 are lost, and that's honestly saddens me quite a bit. Because each episode has been growth, has improved. We're always building upon everything, and yeah. I choose not to be really upset by it because it was a learning lesson. We could try to place blame or anything, but there's no really blame to be placed. We were ignorant of that. And this too, ignorant is a taboo word where I found a lot of people get really pissed off when you're like, I'm ignorant, whatever. Ignorant just means you don't know. There's nothing wrong with that. We did not know. I did not know. Okay, not to speak for her. I did not think that,
it would be a reason for the videos to be taken down.
but in reflection, whatever.
There have been people too who said that they don't even know why, because it was like a makeup tutorial and then Facebook took it down.
Yeah.
So it's basically just a heads up that these videos could disappear before even we
So check them out.
know it. Yeah. And we've also started streaming on YouTube, so at least they will be saved there. There's a backup.
And eventually, I can see us having like a DVD or a compilation that people can purchase to have all of our Love Talks available for them, for those that don't necessarily want to hire us for coaching, but would really love to have ready accessibility to the lessons that we've spoken.
Yeah, it can be digital. It doesn't even have to be
Can be
a disc.
Yeah.
It can be online. That makes it so much easier. Anyway, so let's move on, because we noticed that we have been going way over, and it's already almost half an hour.
Half an hour was our goal
time.
initially, and now we tend to sit by an hour. This is probably going to be an hour again. So, yeah.
Okay. So, other reasons why people want to leave, as we've discussed amongst ourselves, aside from huge life change, there's also illness/disability. Sometimes people discover that they have a major illness and they feel like they don't want to encumber their mate with that, or the mate feels like, I'm not ready for this, even though I love you. Like, let's say sometimes, you know, one of the reasons why the healthy mate chooses to leave is if there's a huge age difference and they feel like they haven't really lived their life yet.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or an injury happens. Maybe someone becomes paralyzed. And yes, some people watching this could be like, well, they're a cold-hearted bleep. I said bleep, Facebook people, bleep. And, you know, I don't think that's necessarily so. If you happen to be a very athletic, active individual and you've devoted a lot of time to somebody and now that individual can't be active anymore, do you want to spend the next 60 years taking care of this individual when you want to be climbing mountains and hiking through prairies and all that kind of stuff? So it's like, you know, I can see the whole, maybe you're being cold, but at the same time, we only have one life as far as we know of for sure, right? And we want to make the best out of that.
And some people would choose to go their own way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that would be, if that is what you genuinely feel, it's better to, because it's not like you're abandoning them if you help them transition, you know, and they found someone, you helped find someone to take care of them.
We shouldn't have to feel guilted into being with someone. No relationship should be based upon guilt. That's, well, not fun. Another one could be simply boredom. I've spent the last 3 years with you, and we do the same BS every single week, and we're not growing, we're not expanding. Honestly, I think you're amazing, but I'm bored. I want to go, I don't know what I'm going to explore, but I want to go and explore. And, you know, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but that could, too, be a reason why a relationship could end.
Yeah. Or not even end, but why someone might feel like they want to leave.
And the kind of going hand in hand with that is you spent years together and you just find you've lost that love and feeling. It would sound better if she did it, but
a good try.
The point on it is, yeah, you know, there's nothing wrong with, there's that saying that relationships or people or that we're with, you know, can last for a minute, a day, a week, month, year, decade. And at some point, that boredom, that loving feeling has left. And how much longer of your finite life do you want to devote to someone that you've lost that loving feeling. You're not a bad person for wanting to end it. You know, we can choose to do bad things and end things in bad ways, but you're not a bad person to wanting to take your own path for a while. There's nothing wrong with that.
And then another one, is that what you were going to say?
Yeah. Go
would be disruptive behavior or abuse. You know, that one is actually pretty major.
Quite prevalent. Prevalent.
Like, it shouldn't even have to be, if your life is in danger, you know, it's not even the sort of thing I would say where, should I leave?
But a lot of people do. A lot of people
ponder upon whether.
What it's like, well, this kind of goes into another episode that we've talked about, and we've probably talked about this a handful of times, of the actions versus words type of thing. It's like they keep saying, I'll be better, I'll change, I'll start treating you better, I'll stop abusing you. And you keep waiting for this action based upon their words. And in my opinion, one should not waste their time on the words. The actions should reflect the words. The words should reflect the actions. If they're talking a lot, but they keep on mistreating you, move on. Don't waste the time. Yes, it will be painful. Yes, moving on to one of our other things of, well, I guess jumping to why people stay, it's like, yes, you have to leave your comfort zone to get out of those abusive relationships, or whether they're abusive or not, or just you're malcontent, you're not feeling stimulated anymore. It's like life is about stimulation. Life is about, in our opinion, my opinion, and if you're not feeling stimulated anymore, you don't need to stick along anymore. You don't. It's okay.
I was going to say, too, we know it's easier said than done, like being in an abusive relationship and then saying leave, because some people, their lives are threatened.
Mm-hmm.
So even though we would say it is advisable to leave, we know that it's easier said than done, because some people know that they will be hunted, or that their children's lives are in jeopardy, or their children could be taken away from them by their spouse.
On that, if there's anyone out there watching this, completely confidential, contact us. You know, if you're in an abusive relationship, you know, I'm happy to help you. I'm happy to waive our coaching fees for those that are in an abusive relationship to help give you insight, okay? Because it is, our passion here is to truly help people, and yes, we want to pay our bills. But if you feel you're in an abusive relationship, contact us. I can't speak for, I'm speaking for myself. You know, we'll put some time to try to help you, to try to give you insight, completely confidential. Reach out. I mean, we care. Our hearts are so big that this is why we do this. And if you're hurting, if you're feeling abused, mistreated, reach out for us. You know, we can help. You know, there's a lot of people out there, and maybe those people didn't fit. Well, then reach out for us. Okay.
Okay. So moving on to the next one, cheating. So that one, yeah, either you or your significant other. It's not always because, oh, I got cheated on.
It can go both ways.
Yeah.
Most of these can go both ways, just to throw that out there.
Yeah, so if you find yourself cheating or wanting to, it could be a major indication that you no longer want to be in that relationship. Or it could also be that you're actually wired to be poly.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
So in modern, especially in California, but in other places, it is spreading. There are numerous types of open relationships and polyamorous relationships, and maybe that's for you.
Yeah, and you just didn't
Research
know it
it.
until now.
You don't know what you don't know.
Mhm.
So research it, look about it, talk to your mate about it, because talking about it should be, in my opinion, okay. If they're not okay to talk about it, if you're going to take actions on it without them being okay with it, that's, you can cross that bridge on your own. But there's nothing wrong with talking about, there shouldn't be, in my opinion.
And being honest with yourself.
Yeah, being honest with yourself, being honest with them about what is important to you. Somebody that we know recently was dating somebody and then expressed the desire to be able to have a, not necessarily poly, but more open relationship. And that's perfectly okay. There's nothing wrong with he or she doing that.
Because we're all wired different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some people do want to be monogamous, and it's really not either or. It's about what works for you.
Yeah, there's no, in our opinion, there's no real right or wrong. I mean, the biggest thing that,
as long as you're not hurting anyone,
exactly,
as long as you're honest.
What I was going to say is like, the biggest thing is, as long as you're trying to be honest about your communication, about who you are, not going out of your way to hurt people. It's like we are allowed to express ourselves, even if you have masochistic or sado mentalities, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that as long as you communicate about what's important to you, to them. They should be, if you're going to bring the cat or nine or something, they should probably be let know about that.
Yeah, because sometimes people are really hard on themselves. That's why it leads to cheating, because they're like, I really love the person that I'm with, but I'm also attracted to someone else. So what do I do about that? And I don't want to leave this relationship, but I also want to explore that other one. That's why they go and do it without telling the partner that they were already with that they're going to go and do that.
It's like time goes by like that. Don't waste it. If they truly love you, in my opinion, they're going to, with open arms, let you express who you are.
Yeah, and sometimes it might end up where they're supportive of you, but they don't want to be in a romantic relationship with you anymore. And that's so much better than
but it's out there.
It's
out there. If you're dishonest, you're hurting yourself and you're hurting them.
Yeah.
By being honest, okay, you may hurt them a little in the beginning, but any type of big change in a relationship can lead to hurt. But in the end, they're going to, I feel, appreciate that you were honest about things rather than
hiding it from them.
Yeah.
Going behind their back.
Exactly. It's like, who likes that? I was at a party last night, a hippie jamboree, where we were talking about how to bridge. It's kind of the Me Too gap, but it still goes really good with relationships, and talking about just being honest about things, being able to express yourself, how huge that is. Just giving that up there.
Okay, so another reason why people feel like they want to leave relationships is discontent, and that could also be with yourself, not just with the relationship itself. And I'd say that's different from boredom, because I classify this as wanting more out of life, not just feeling like we always do the same stuff, which is more like boredom. Discontent is more like there's a yearning inside.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know there's so much more out there for me, so much more that I want to do. And sometimes people feel like I can't do that if I am in the same setup. Yeah. Like they feel held back by the relationship.
Yeah. So another is, we're always growing, we're always evolving, and sometimes you know, well, for example, with my high school sweetheart, you know, we still talk. Everything is good. She's married with a kid now. But as a younger person, being that I had never been with anyone for any period of time, we were basically our firsts. I felt the need to mature. I couldn't speak for herself, but I could not see the possibility of us being successful together, being basically our only people we've ever been with. And I needed to explore. I needed to have a better understanding of things. And like oftentimes things do, you know, paths went in a different direction. You know, they could have came back. They didn't. But it was necessary to grow. As well as there's also that, you know, you want to sow your royal oats, so to speak. You want to get out there. You want to have fun. You want to play around. But it's all a learning experience.
Yeah, and then there's another reason, which is sometimes people just prefer to be alone. So I'm going to classify being alone and being single as two different things. I mean, it's only semantics really, but there's one option where people really do prefer their own company. Like they don't really want to be around people much. And then there's the option of living the single life, which is to keep dating. Just keep dating, but never get into a serious
sometimes
relationship.
Not dating at all.
Yeah, no, that's why I said alone and the single lifestyle.
Yeah.
I classify them as two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The not dating at all would be alone.
Okay.
They just want to be with themselves.
Yeah, okay. The hermitish.
Yeah. So there are people who realize that they're perfectly fine that way and might even prefer that to being in a relationship, no matter how awesome experiences they've had.
I think you're awesome.
Well, you know, we can keep just looking at each other. And,
it's easy to do, but
but I guess we're going to continue.
I guess.
Yeah, so as we were saying.
Yeah, we have all the clothing on and stuff. So.
We'll just wait until later. Yeah, as we were saying, some people prefer their own company, even though they've had really good experiences with others and like getting physically intimate. It doesn't mean that they necessarily want to trade being alone for committing and living the relationship lifestyle.
Cool.
And then there's living the single lifestyle, which is because they just want to keep dating. Some people would, instead of getting involved in a committed relationship.
Well, sometimes the alone people, the reason they do that is simply, you know, they've tried the dating thing and to them it sucks. They're sick of the BS. They would rather do what I call follow the train versus the roller coaster of life, which, you know, trains, you know, you have your hills up, you have your hills down, so to speak. Roller coaster has ups, downs, spins, rounds, and everything. And we all get to choose which one we really want to follow. And sometimes for people, they're just happier following that train. Less highs, but the less highs equals less lows, versus with the roller coaster, you get these big highs and you're with somebody and you're in love and you're so happy and everything's great. And then they treat you like poop and you're down here and you're getting sick and whatever. But it's all an individual thing that we get to choose.
Yeah, some people just prefer to not keep going through that, or maybe they've had so many heartbreaks they just don't want to go through that again. They're happy anyway, doing their own thing. Yeah. And
that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So why do people stay despite
all these reasons?
All of these things that we've talked about. Well,
as we've discussed.
A big one we feel is something we've talked about a lot is the comfort zone and not wanting to leave the comfort zone. It's like, all right, I come home and I don't get laid and I can't watch what I want on television. But, you know, food is ready for me. I don't got to do a lot of cleaning. You know, it's relatively stress-free, even though I'm not exactly happy. I just as soon stay in my comfort zone, yeah, you know, rather than staying in the comfort zone. It's a very, very common thing. That is a safe place to be. We're not necessarily always happy there. Things are not necessarily happening there either, but it's comfortable. It's like there's this routine, this level of
just being so used to it, feeling at home. Yeah, it's what's normal for you, you know? And there's this expression, better the devil you know.
Yeah. And sometimes, like the movie Hitch, they say it's like everything will be okay. For a lot of people, being okay is okay.
Yeah.
I personally, I don't want okay. Thumbs down to okay. I want fabulous. I want exceptional. I want amazing. You know, and I don't settle. You know, and somehow this one came into my life.
That makes me want to climb the same.
But if I had settled, she wouldn't have.
Because you probably would already be in one of your past relationships.
Yeah, abusive relationship where I'm in my comfort zone, but people don't necessarily realize that in your comfort zone, you're not necessarily comfortable.
You're just used to it.
Yeah, that's actually a beautiful point.
Yeah,
I'm not
necessarily comfortable in your comfort zone. You're just used to it. And sometimes you get really numb being in the same place because let's say you're wearing a shoe that's pinching your foot. After a while, I mean, depending, you know, sometimes it gets more and more painful, but there are certain times or situations when you just stop feeling, right? And
it's like it kind of hurts, but it's also dependable, and so it's been there for me. Right?
Yeah, it's like instead of buying a new pair of shoes or because you like the way it looks, maybe.
Yeah, another big reason is, especially I feel big in California, in my opinion, is not wanting to hurt anyone. So this to me is one of the biggest cop-outs because by staying with someone you don't want to be with, you're hurting them. You're hurting yourself. And yet you're like, I don't want to hurt anybody. Well, they could be recovering from you and eventually being able to find someone that they actually want to be with, that want to be with them. But no, because you don't want to hurt them. Excuse the face, but I'm doing it again. Because you don't want to hurt them. You stay in this relationship and they're stuck. You're stuck. That's hurting both of you. So I suggest getting out of this whole I don't want to hurt anyone because
it actually hurts more.
Exactly. The happiest moments in life at a different point in life are sad moments. You know, they have what's the Pixar movie?
Yeah,
you know the one.
I do, but I only saw it once, so it's not exactly like
where it's about like the different emotions that are within this one child's mind who came from Minnesota, and actually came to San Francisco, where we are right now. But understanding that a happy thought, you know, if you're no longer there, could be a sad thought, but there's that counter between that. So not wanting to hurt anyone is a cop-out, in my opinion. Speak your truth. The sooner the truth is spoken, the sooner we can move on and have a better life.
Yeah. And then another reason why people stay, despite wanting to leave, in our experience, would be hoping things will get better or change.
That goes back to what we talked about, the practice versus practice what you preach, or, you know, actions versus words. So to make that short, simply, if what they say does not connect with what they do, move on. I've done it countless times, stuck in things way longer than I should have because they kept on saying things were going to change, but they never did. X out those words. If the action doesn't follow, I suggest move on.
Yeah, and then there's also sometimes people do genuinely want to be together, but they don't know how to do it successfully. Like sometimes you really love someone, but you guys argue a lot because you don't really know techniques to communicate, you know? Because sometimes you really love somebody, but there's so many misunderstandings, so many arguments. So sometimes people stay because they know that they do want to be together despite all the challenges.
And if you do want to be together, find a therapist. Contact us. If you both genuinely want to be together, that is powerful. That is beautiful.
Yeah, you have that going for you.
Yeah, that is more than a lot of relationships have for them. Contact us. Contact me. You know, I do more one-on-one or one-on-group type of coaching, or find a therapist, because there's no reason, in my opinion, if you both really want to be together and you're willing to work on it, that it can't work.
Absolutely.
There's zero excuse. Moving on from there.
Another reason in our experience why people stay
is reliving the past.
You keep going over the memories in your head. Oh, it was so much fun when we did this. Like,
it's like you are not them anymore. Who you were yesterday is not you anymore. Yes, they grow, but is the flower the tree? Yes, it is, but at the same time, it is not. It all grows from something. Are you the fertilizer that the seed grows from? You know, sure, you brought nutrients from it to help you evolve to who you are, but you are not them anymore. Living in the past means you're going to trip over your feet and fall on your face.
Yeah, because you're looking back, not forward.
So it comes to the point of, how does one leave with grace? Meaning, to minimize, with love, and to minimize the pain as much. And just saying this right here, there's going to be pain. There's going to be pain. Or at least I feel there's going to be pain. We feel most likely in any ending of a relationship, any change, there's going to be a level of pain. That's part of life. That's okay. That's where the growth comes from. But aside from an abusive relationship, we have a handful of things that we've thought of that may help, give clarification to this.
Yeah, and the reason why an abusive relationship is different is because sometimes you gotta leave now.
Yeah, you have to escape for your safety.
Yeah.
For the safety of your child, or who knows.
Yeah, but it's different because there's something more at stake immediately.
But if, aside from safety issues, all communication we recommend should come from a calm state of mind. And something we've talked about before is there's nothing wrong with having what we call the Lily Marshall timeout.
Lily Marshall from How I Met Your Mother.
Which is a great way of, if things get heated, you can be like, I need to stop. I need to step away. I need to breathe a minute. This is too much. The waves have been crashing into me quite a bit. I need time to process, ruminate, and then you can reconnect at a later point and continue the conversation. It doesn't mean it's, in our opinion, you correct me if I'm wrong, if you don't agree, something having to be finished in a single sitting is silly. It's cool if you can find resolution in a single sitting, but some things are big. Sometimes you need time to sleep on it for a night. You need to process. And that is important. I've had countless times of the whole, well, no, we got to deal with this right now. It's like sometimes you're not capable of dealing with it right now. Your cup is full. It's overflowing. You need time for that to settle. Process.
I just wanted to say, because you might have noticed that I'm smiling right now. I was just going to say, I do appreciate it, though, if I'm really heated. If you're not heated, for you to not take it on so that it doesn't have to turn into something.
So that's something, too, we've talked about in past episodes of having someone who can be the rock. And that doesn't mean one person is always the rock. It's meaning when some person is getting very, it should alternate. Everything should flow back and forth, we believe. And understanding one person's in that said state. Like we've had arguments where we're both strong empaths. We express like big waves. And it doesn't necessarily, we have to be putting at each other. It's like you throw a big rock into a lake.
The emotion behind
and the wake spreads out. And there's been times where I've just been like, I love you. I need some time alone right now. It's like you've done nothing wrong, but there's so much energy, passion, that I don't want to get angry. I don't want to lose my cool because I'm drowning in these big waves. And being able to respect that of one another and to take that time, knowing that there's no love lost, no nothing. It's because we want the best outcome, and the best outcome comes from time to collect oneself. That is a beautiful, essential, in our opinion, way to communicate.
I was going to say, before we continue, who wants a reading? Facebook. Yeah. YouTube, we haven't figured out a way yet where, because we started this on Facebook, and we have more viewers on Facebook also at this point because we haven't exactly really made it very public yet on YouTube. So yeah, if there's anyone out there watching, we'll figure out a way where we can join all these platforms and everybody can participate. Yeah.
But if you like a reading, say me, yes, I. Yeah. I would love to have a reading.
We do it at random points, or we've been attempting to do that. That way you get surprised and you stay on your toes. So does anybody want a reading right now on Facebook?
Anyone?
Yeah, if nobody says, I'm going to pull a card. I've actually been saying this in several of our live streams now. Like if nobody says I or me, I'll pull a card that's a general message for everyone to take inspiration from.
To anyone? Reading. Would you like an intuitive reading?
Yeah, and someone always says me, but maybe this is the first time that we're actually going to do one card for everyone who happens to come across this.
So,
okay, last call.
Does anyone want a reading? Say yes, no. Well, or, no. You don't need to say no. Say yes, me, I. Cheerio. No, that's not really that, but.
Okay, I'm going to pull a card now. So this is for all of us to take inspiration from. I'll just put the rest of the deck away right now. Oh.
The card that we have shown is Past Lives, which kind of matches with my shirt here. Pretty
yeah,
cool.
By the way, speaking of your shirt, you know, we're wearing floral today, kind of in celebration of Mother's Day, which is this Sunday.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, to everyone.
And Daughter's Day and People's Day. Animals Day. No.
Yeah, because, you know, we don't really need a special day to celebrate, really, because we can always make any day whatever we want it to be, but it's pretty cool.
It's good to show love and respect to those that help us become who we are.
Yeah, right. So this card right here is about tapping into the knowledge that we have gleaned that's already within us. Sometimes, you know, we keep looking outside or towards other sources because we don't know just how much we already have within or that we have access to. anyone out there, it taps into certain sources for your intuition. Like getting into a meditative state, perhaps, because it can reveal so much that you don't tap into when you're in your regular waking state. Yeah, so this is just a reminder that there's so much more knowledge within us than we acknowledge.
Nice.
Two different words, but yeah, they have the word knowledge in them both.
She giggles because I make dad jokes with stuff like that on that.
Yeah. Anything that you want to add?
Not this time.
Okay.
Follow your gut. Who knows if past lives are real or not? But in my experience, have yet to find a case where when we get that tug in our, solar plex area, that it's not giving us insight. Listen to it. Trust yourself. Try not to second guess, and it may help lead you to.
Yeah, it's not even about past lives per se, but tapping into everything that's already in you that you have access to, because sometimes we forget. If we had all the knowledge that we've ever accumulated right at the surface, that would be so overwhelming. So sometimes we have to go like to the back of our brains or wherever else it's stored so that we can remember what it is that, whatever it is that we've already learned. Okay, so let's continue now.
So another good thing to help you leave with grace is take some time to meditate, take out a journal, write some pros and cons. Without going into too detail, it's just a simple way to give yourself perspective. On top of that, feel whether the relationship contributes more to your well-being rather than affecting you negatively. So that kind of adds on to the pros and cons thing. Whereas, if you find there's a ton of, on that list, negatives and only a handful of positives, well, perhaps you already kind of knew, but this further adds substance to what you kind of already knew in the first place.
Yeah, and I would say the difference between feeling whether the relationship contributes positively to you as compared to weighing the pros and cons is when you feel, you go more by, what's the energy there? Is it good? Do you feel good? Because sometimes on paper, something could look really awesome, when you write things down, but balance it out with your gut, balance it out with your intuition, because sometimes we don't know what we don't know. Sometimes we are picking up on there's actually something unhealthy for us there, but we haven't put it into words yet because we haven't found the logic behind it, but we can feel it. So if your feeling is telling you that there's something really not awesome going
and then
for you.
And then to go back to what we talked about before is, if you're not sure, reach out for help in some way. Reach out to us. Find a therapist. Speak to people that can give you a non-biased opinion, not those that are just going to be yes people, because that's not going to help you. Somebody that's okay with calling you out on your BS or their BS, reach out for that. That is important. Also, unless you had something to say.
Yeah, I was going to say, or people whose biases lean towards something very specific, from the start, if they've always not liked the person that you're with. It's going to be really biased. They're going to say, of course, leave. Because they don't like that person.
It's good to have someone that can see both sides. And if possible, have your partner be willing. If they're unwilling to work on anything, have a mediator, or any of that stuff, that right there could be a huge sign that it is time to move on, because you're trying. You're trying to get an outside perspective. They're unwilling. Boom. To me, that's like, let's move on then. On top of that, one of our last things before our big O is, if you're absolutely certain, speak your truth. And that doesn't mean being a jerk, being mean, bringing up things that are irrelevant about said topic. You don't need to attack. You don't need to name call.
Yeah, if you're already certain.
Yeah, if possible, and you want to make it as peaceful, find a mediator, somebody that will be non-biased. Like, I have a strong group of people that I reach to for advice. And it's because if I'm wrong, they will tell me I'm wrong, and they're not shy about it in the slightest. And that's why I love going to them. Whereas, like, I've had plenty of people that are basically yes people, or are not willing to tell me their truth. They just, because they're afraid of how they're going to be judged. No. Find somebody that can call you out on what they see to be their truth. And this doesn't mean truth. We all have our own truths, so there's no pure truth. The truth. But
we have our own version.
But having people that are okay to be like, actually, no, I think you were kind of being a beep there. I think you're being mean. I think you were out of line. I love you. You're one of my best friends, and you were out of line. You're somebody that's not afraid to say that. Those are, in my opinion, could I say even our opinion, the best type of people to ask for advice.
Yeah, most of the time we share the same opinion anyway. Most of the time.
Most of the time. Sometimes. So.
Just sometimes.
Most of the time.
Yeah, if it was just sometimes, I don't think that,
well, we'd be doing this.
Yeah, because then we'd just be arguing all the time.
So, our big climax, the O that comes at the end today is...
We've said this before, but it's really relevant to the topic today. It always is, but most especially this topic. The most important relationship we have is that with ourselves. Mm-hmm. And if that's not in order, other relationships will reflect that. So if what you really need is time to yourself, and you're scared that, oh, they're not going to want me back, well, the relationship won't really work anyway if you don't take care of yourself mm-hmm. first.
And if they don't want you back, they weren't right for you in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because sometimes people don't want to leave because they'll be gone. They're thinking, they'll be gone by the time I've worked on myself. Or
it's like when you close a door, you open a window.
Yeah, and if that happens, then maybe you were supposed to go a different direction anyway.
Oh.
Yeah. And so we have hit the hour mark again for this episode.
One day we might get to a half an hour.
Yeah, or just a little over at least.
But being that, it's like, I guess we could try to break down these topics into even smaller spans.
Bite sizes.
There's just so much to talk about, so much endlessly. And that too is why we have started our coaching business, because we're barely touching a grasp of it. And we have this background in coaching and helping people and wanting to make this positive difference. So share this, spread the love. If you have other insights that you're interested in, let us know. If you need help, let us know.
Yeah, and thank you so much to everyone for watching, whether you were watching this as we were streaming it live or you watch it in the future. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back again next week. Yeah, unless anything ever comes up, we'll always be back.
We try to do every
Friday at 5:30. Yeah, we'll let you know.
Pacific Standard Time.
Yeah, right now PDT, but yeah.
So, I'm Joshua.
And I'm Leia.
This is Love Talk. And we are here to, well, help bring light to those shady areas in your life.
I'm always smiling because, at the end because I'm always thinking of other things to throw in. But that was one of the reasons that he was kind of scolding me in the beginning because we had already closed. I would keep going. Yeah, so.
It is refining, even though we're extending again.
Only by like a few seconds.
So
thank you so much.
Thank
we'll
you.
See you again
Have a good
soon.
one.